All right. Check our agenda here. If you want to just let us know, you can tell us or put in the chat where you're joining from today.
Jean-Marc from France, Paris.
Very good. Welcome. I'm on the East Coast of the US myself. Welcome from Accra, Gideon. All right. And so we will go through our kind of intros, welcome, and then I'll give our overview on the market. And I think we're recording now. Then we'll have a trading analysis from Isaac, and then we'll be getting into Bitfiasi. So getting about 30 minutes there. And I don't see our speaker from Ethiopia yet, but hopefully she will be on shortly. She'll have another 30 minutes for Ethiopia Blockchain Week, and then we'll have our networking and Q&A time. And we'll close it after that. So that's the plan. I'm going to start sharing here. All right. We have started. Messages. And Isaac, I'm thinking maybe, do you want to start with trading analysis? That way I can send out a few reminders to everybody while you're doing it.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, let me get my screen ready.
Mhm.
1 second.
And I'll give the disclaimer for everybody. Informational purposes only, and to educate, connect, network. We don't sell any tokens. We don't sell any investment. So that's just a disclaimer. So I'll let Isaac go after that.
Thank you, John. I do have to apologize for my camera. I don't know what. So I will switch my camera off. But just let me know if you guys can still hear me. Am I coming through clear?
Yes.
Oh, share screen.
Oh, your screen share is not on yet, no?
Yeah, coming on 1 second. Right, can everyone see my screen now?
It's coming up, yeah. There it is.
Cool, brilliant. Okay, so I hope everyone's well. My name is Isaac Alabi, part of the Wakanda Blockchain Meetup group, and today we'll be looking at BTC like we always do every month. Look at the price, what price has been doing over the last few weeks since we last met, and try and look at see where price might be heading to in the coming future. And one of the things I want to touch on today is just based on feedback from previous sessions that we've had. I do a lot of more technical analysis, more on the for the trading side. But obviously, we have people here who don't have zero interest in doing any trading. I want to understand how to find opportunities to scale into BTC, and we'll also look at simpler ways on how you can what the price is saying in the market, understand the sentiment of the market, and how you can position yourself to like kind of scale in gradually to invest into Bitcoin or any other asset that you've done some research on that's caught your interest. So as of today, the current trading price of Bitcoin is at 116,922. So we just say about 117K. And we've been on the upward since, I'll probably say around, let's say December, end of 2023, into the last quarter of 2023, or Q2 of Q3 of 2023, I should say. And we've been making steady gains. We've had a look at analysis as to where price would need to break out for us to get confirmation that we are on to continue on a bullish momentum.
Sorry, Isaac, you may want to go to Do Not Disturb. I've been chatting with our speaker from Ethiopia, so I think I keep disturbing you.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Cool. So so as we were saying, when we was looking at the chart, let me just go to the weekly. So I'm on the trading view chart. For anyone who's new here, trading view chart allows you to be able to check the price analysis for any asset against another currency. We're looking at BTC paired against the USDT, which is like the US dollar, but the digital version, Tether. So what we had identified in last week was this was a key area of resistance. And the resistance is the area we want price has shown either that it's exhausted an area and it can't break through, and it usually get a strong resistance or weak resistance. If it's weak, then obviously price will continue to start testing that zone and eventually will break through. So what we've had here, if we just go back a bit, so let's say from December 2024 or thereabouts, price had hit a high of, so I've got to move this out of the way. So if you see at the top of my trading view chart here, we've got some, whenever I hover over any of these candles, these red or green candles, it'll give me a high, which is the high of the price, or L, which is the low of the price, or the C, which is usually where O represents the opening of that price. So price opened at, if we hover over this candle, for example, this one for the 11th, if you look right at the bottom, it gives you the date, the 11th of Monday, 11th of November 2024. So the O was the opening price, which is 80,409. The height of that price of this candle that I'm currently over was 93,421, and with the low being 80,261, and then it closed at 89,000. Okay, so close these adverts. So what we had here, we had around December, as I was saying, price had reached a key level. So we was around about the 110K, so about 108, between 108 and 110K. Hit the ceiling. Obviously, we had really broken and set new all-time highs. Had a little bit of a small correction and came back up to retest the same zone again. So it retested the same zone, but there wasn't enough momentum to continue to break up through that zone. So what we would look for in this scenario is price to come back down and test the zone that it previously had the bullish momentum and broke through. So we had a momentum up here, and it broke through a previous high, which was back in April 24, the 70K, 80K area that we had as an all-time high for a very long period of time. So around the beginning of November, price broke that all-time high and then went up to make a new all-time high. So what, like I said, is then created its new zone. So it's new high, and this is would be our resistance. When we start getting these red candles, that is showing exhaustion from buyers. Okay, so price came back down, and what we always want price to do is test the zone it broke out of. You want price to come back down and test that zone to see that price that broke above, which was around the 73, 75K level. It came back down again and tested it to say, this is the new support, this is the new base price. for this current period of time. Okay, I hope everyone's with me. I will have opportunity for questions shortly. So we came back down and created the new support. So here we knew this was we had a few tests in here during February, right through to end of March, beginning of April, before we had some more momentum to the upside. I'm going to delete. No, I'm going to keep this line actually. We'll come back to this line and I'll explain why. So for me, price tested this area that we broke out of. There's not been enough. I don't believe it's tested this area to create a strong enough support. So we broke through this area, came back down and created this and retested the support and made another upward momentum. Okay, I would expect to see at least a month or go back and retest it. This has been fairly quick. There's been obviously a lot of fundamental news that has obviously driven the price up as well. Nevertheless, it's continued. May, we retested that previous all-time high around the 110K level. Very small correction, a lot smaller than the previous correction. We had an all-time high here, had a correction down to, let's say, it dropped down about 16 to 20%. Here, we came back up to the same all-time high again, and we only had this correction about between 8 and 9%. And then price made another all-time high. So now we're up until the last few weeks. So on the 14th of July, it's showing here this red candle, showing a little bit of exhaustion. So what we want to look at now, this is important for more people who are trading, especially the investors as well. We're in no man's land. We don't know where price could go. It can go up to 150, 200, a million, who knows? I don't know. But what we want to do is take it level to level. So we had these lines drawn up, and these lines are fundamental in us knowing where price could go next. So if we've broken out of this area, if this was our all-time high here and we tested it, came down, we tested it and broke out of it, we want price to come back down and retest, even if we do another momentum to the upside. So let's say last time we had the test, we went up 35%, so around 40%. So we've broken up again. Let's say we broke up another 40%. We'll be looking at 150K. That can happen at any given moment over an extended period of time. We don't know. If that doesn't happen, what we want to look at, and this is for people who want to start scaling into Bitcoin, is finding key levels of where you say, all right, I'll put the general term used is dollar cost averaging into an asset. So you might say, okay, you've got 10K, you want to put 2K in at every single time it hits a certain level. Price hits this level, we want to see if it's going to hold, because this was our resistance, and we want to see if this is going to become our support. So if we get some sideward movement and a little bit of testing here, this might be an indicator that this is 108, 110K is our new support. If price breaks down below this level and closes anywhere below the 100K level, I would probably be 99% sure we will be heading back down to retest between our 70 and 80K mark. So we want to see what price does next. I have been saying for the last 2 or 3 webinars that we've had, 2 or 3 meetups that we've had, that I've not seen enough volume in the market to kind of back up the upward trend. But yes, there has it's been clearly pointed out that obviously Bitcoin is its own entity, and it's different to a normal asset, because the supply, the use case, and everything else that comes with it. But I'm a technical person when it comes to trading or investing, and I will look for volume to represent making my informed decision, as well as looking at the market as well. Okay, so what we want to see is price retest this level. If it holds, that's fantastic. We can see there's confidence that we might make more further uptrend. If price retests this level and breaks down, this is where we want price to come back and test. We need price to hold at least the 80K mark. Anything below here, below the 100K, I'm happy to put money on to say price will break below. If it closes below the 100K, we are definitely heading back down to retest this area here to make sure this is a strong support, that the market sentiment is confident that this is a fair price to scale into Bitcoin. Sorry about the adverts. To scale into Bitcoin and for investors to say, yeah, this will be like our area to possibly accumulate more Bitcoin. So this now takes me on to, I know this is on the technical side of things, so I'm going to move this thing out of the way. Right. So people who are looking at this chart and still confused, I've tried to keep it as simple as possible. You don't necessarily have to look at the charts or understand how trading view works or candles and patterns and anything else. You can just be a very simple investor trader. You can use this for trading as well. And you can use the fear and greed index, which is an indicator of the current market sentiment. Is the market very fearful? Is the market extremely greedy and everyone's just absolutely just buying up price at the all-time high and not really paying attention? It doesn't matter. It's a long-term asset that they're interested in. So what the fear and greed index does is uses a lot of that data, volume, price, general market sentiment, and then it puts it into its platform to give us some sort of an analysis that we can use. So one of the best things you want to do if you're using a fear and greed index, there is lots of different platforms that offer different types of fear and greed index analysis. The most common one is this one that you can get on Alternative. And last month we had fear and greed. It was sorry. All right, well, that was a question. It was around 70. I think we've got a few hot mics. John, if you want to just mute people. And what you want to look at on a fear and greed index is where we're currently at. And at the moment, we're at greed, which is around 67. Extreme greed would be looking at the 100%, and extreme fear would be looking at the 0. And these are the times where, if you're, like I said, if you're trading and it's at extreme greed, sorry, around the high green area, that's when if you're a trader, you'll be looking to short the market because it would have probably reached its at a peak where it's at a premium. Extreme fear is when we're looking to get price at a discount. So price will be at a discount. Traders will be looking to long the market because we're expecting it to go up. And this is, if you don't want to look at the charts and you just want to just check the sentiment of the market, this is a very accurate tool to use. And it can be demonstrated more on a CoinMarketCap platform, where you can just look back at price, what price has done in the past, and what the fear and greed index has represented. One of the key ones here was back in, what was this? Around February, March 2025, we was in extreme fear, and price was probably around so what price was it? So here it takes us, we're in the red zone. Price was at 83K ish, around that sort of time. And this would be an indicator for you to say, all right, let me start averaging in to the asset that I'm interested in. So we're focusing on Bitcoin. You want to start averaging into Bitcoin at this price because you feel like, you know what, whatever happens, I'm happy with this price. This is where I want to start slowly scaling in. It could go lower, it could go higher if it goes lower, but you know that it's an extreme fear. So it's a perfect opportunity for you to start buying. You buy when it's red and you sell or reserve or what you want to do when it's at its green. And it came back again to retest this level around the 80K mark. And then obviously we've had an upward trajectory from 80K. So around about June. I have to look at my Bitcoin chart, sorry. So that was, yeah. So around April 2025. Let's go to April 2025. we was, well, actually, we wasn't really at anything. We're still in the neutral zone. April. No, we was at extreme fear. Price was around the 80K mark. Yeah, okay, cool, that makes sense. Just have to double check that. So it was around the 80K mark, and price has made this upward trajectory from there. We've had an upward of, let's see, how much have we had? Price increase since that time. So I've got it's on the screen. So we've done around 50% since when was that, around April. So prices, the Bitcoin has done around 50% since April, which is a massive return. So like I said, you can always go back on history, just look at the times when it's been at extreme fear, and those are the times you can scale in. When it's at extreme greed in the high zones, that's when you want to be reserved. You want to just set your hands and just watch and see what price does. Right now, as of today, we're neutral. We're in the middle. Price isn't at greed, it isn't at fear. It's more or less smack bang in the middle. We wanted to see what we're just a bit in no man's land. We want to see what price is going to do over the next few weeks to make decisions to say we're overheated and we're down for a bit of a cool off and a nice correction, healthy correction in the market. And that healthy correction will be looking to come back down to retest those zones that we was talking about. So if it holds back above, so I'm just going to do zoom indicators. If we come back down to retest the previous all-time high level and create new support, it'll be interesting to see if we make more upward momentum. We are still very bullish, even though the volume isn't representing that. If it breaks down below the 108K level and definitely breaks down below, put a line here. If we break down below 100K, that is when I would say that we will be looking back to test down the 80K mark. We'll have some corrections and a bit of sideways movement. We might go back up again to retest the all-time high. But I think the market sentiment by then might be that people are like, all right, I've taken enough for now. I'll wait to see price drop back down and then start rescaling back in. But we will keep you updated every month and continue to monitor the market and see what's happening and take questions as and when, if people are unsure or trying to understand what to do at its current rate. If you don't care about the price and you're in Bitcoin for the next 20, 30 years and you've got a very long-term plan for your family, price doesn't really matter. But obviously, if you can get at the best price, that's better. But if you want to be more strategic and say, right, hold out, at least try and get a slight discount, even if price corrects on that 20, 30%, it's still good. So yeah, that is it from me. Is there any questions? Just quick one for the chat. Sorry on the camera, guys. I will definitely get this fixed before.
Any questions, guys?
Session.
I don't know if you. I want to know if you have a guess. For you, what is the probability that the Bitcoin go under 100,000?
Goes below
for the 2 next months?
That's a good question. I don't, because I just try to, from experience, this is just from experience from what I've been trading, is not try and gauge it too far. I like to take it level to level to see what happens. Sorry, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think my screen was lagging there. Yeah, so I try and take price. The next level, like I said, is 100K. If we come back down to 108K, and it holds that level, then yes, that's fantastic. If price breaks down below the 108K, we want to see where it goes next. 108, 105, then anything below that, 100. If it breaks down below the 108 and it heads down to and it doesn't hold that, I'm more than confident that we'll go down to the 100K level. How long that takes, I couldn't tell you. It could happen next month. It could happen in a couple of weeks. I'm really unsure. But yeah, I think it's just a case. Let's just see what price. Look at the monthly close. We are just starting in the beginning of August now, and we want to see how the price closes at the end of August to give us a bit of an indicator. And by then we might be able to see that we've got some very strong red candles that are showing exhaustion at the current price level. That might be the indicator to say, right, we're going to have a bit of a cool off, a correction, and people are taking some profits at these levels that we probably will push us back down to the 100K level.
Okay.
I'll make a comment on that one too. I think it depends, Jean-Marc, if you're looking at it, from a trading perspective, like Isaac said, from a trading perspective, this is definitely going to be, you can watch. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of movement. If you're looking at it from a mid to long-term investment perspective, for me, this is what I'm doing for Bitcoin. I really just keep dollar cost averaging, through the up and down movements because there were three scenarios. Basically, we have a regular cycle, which means that sometime in the fall, winter, it'll probably drop down somewhat. We don't know how much. But then we could be a super cycle, which means it's going to keep going up only, which I hope it is, right? If it's a super cycle, we could see it going up through 150, 200, 250, because we have so many institutions who are buying Bitcoin now. And I'll go through that a little bit in a moment. And then the third scenario, which really requires you to have a super cycle, is hyper Bitcoinization, where it means everything basically is going to Bitcoin. Bitcoin kind of becomes like a world reserve, in which case it's probably not coming down again. So it could be any of those three scenarios, actually.
Okay, it's clear for me.
Cool. Any other questions? And then we can move over to market analysis. John. Cool. Over to you, John.
All right. Let me share my screen. Give me a moment. Let me just pull up the presentation. One moment. Tab to new window. And share my screen. All right, so we're going to get some quick market updates on what's happening in the Bitcoin and crypto space. Again, as I always mention, or at least I'm mentioning now, this is for educational, community, and networking purposes. It is not financial advice or selling of any investment. If you want to do financial advice, please talk to your appropriate advisor if you need to do that. Okay, so for this month, we'll take a quick roundup of everything happening in the space. A lot's going on. Obviously, as Isaac showed, the pricing, we've been consistently well over 100,000 for months now, which is really good to me. A lot of that has to do with things that are happening with the US White House, a lot of very positive pro-crypto, pro-Bitcoin policy, as well as institutions and everybody jumping on board. Let's see if I can get that to move. All right, so we have the White House having the first ever crypto report. I shared that in our Telegram group. If you're not in there, definitely join the Telegram group. That's where we share everything that's going on, so that you're able to see all the latest updates and things that we're talking about between meetups. So after years of fragmented policy, I remember I was in Singapore and, it's very hard to get anything done because the US just wouldn't really give any policy, and it affected everybody else in the world as well. Now we're seeing that you'll see the executive orders that are the next one, but consumer protection has been put in place. We have the stablecoin bill, which is now making the US dollar stablecoin effectively basically a digital dollar and currency that anybody can use, which is a really big deal. Financial stability, basically a lot of the risk and everything now, the monitoring, banks are now able to use Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies as well as 401ks, which is the US retirement accounts, which is a really big deal with a lot of institutional money, and regulatory coordination. Now the SEC, the CFTC, Treasury, they're all coordinating, Federal Reserve, and they are all making statements that are very positive statements on Bitcoin, on crypto, which is why you see the prices keep ratcheting up. And I think we're going to see a lot more of this. And then we had the latest executive orders that Trump came up with, which were positive for these, which is we had, Isaac, we had the crypto in retirement plans, which, as I talked about, these are called 401ks in the US. For those of you who know the US retirement, there are, I'd say, billions of dollars. I can't give you the exact number, that are going to flow in because of those retirement accounts. So that's going to be huge for the demand side of it. And then also crypto debanking, which is really a problem. I remember, I mean, I've been in this space for 8 years or more. And in the early days, if you even mentioned that you were doing something with Bitcoin, people would like, oh, we're not doing those transactions, or we can't let you use that in the bank. And now basically they're saying you can't do that. All banks need to make sure that they're respecting and honoring, any legitimate Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, transactions as legitimate banking, and that should be protected. So those are very big executive orders that are in the US and really giving a very strong legitimacy. And we'll see things like I've been talking in Ghana, which we'll see a little bit later. A lot of they've been going through legislation now. They're trying to put it in place. You have in Dubai where they're doing a bunch of tokenized real estate. There's a lot of moves that are happening in Asia as well. So let's keep going. All right, so the landscape, institutional inflows, about 26 billion, and this is AI. So I have tried my best to double check everything. Occasionally AI hallucinates, so double check all the figures. BlackRock has been just huge amounts of money coming in through BlackRock, which is really pushing up the market, which to me leads to the idea of a super cycle. We'll see what happens, but I think there's a good chance of a super cycle just because of the huge amounts of institutional money that are going to keep flowing in from what we're seeing. Corporate treasuries, so MicroStrategy, they've been doing really well. If you're a stock investor, again, do your own research on it, but they have been outperforming the market and Bitcoin because of their strategy where they keep reinvesting, issuing corporate bonds, and buying more and more Bitcoin, right? So these guys have been just doing amazing in terms of their performance. And a lot of others, Tesla, Block, Marathon Digital, they all have assets of treasury for Bitcoin as well. And then regulatory developments, SEC compliance roadmap has been laid out, DeFi platform, stablecoin legislation through Congress. So very positive picture for the US crypto landscape. In Africa, we have, and again, double check my numbers, 50 million plus active users, Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Ghana leading adoption, 32% year-on-year growth, which is great. And then I actually know about this one. AI actually found a few for me when I was preparing here. I'm sorry, to pronounce it right. My Chankura wallet. Apparently this one, it goes off what's called USSD. You can use it on a flip phone, a feature phone. So not like a smartphone like we use, but just a little feature phone with, a tiny little screen on it. You can use it to send Bitcoin. Nearly 8.2 million users across 12 African countries, which is great, right? So you can send Bitcoin without internet access using this, just cellular. That's it. So very powerful technology there. And the Africa Bitcoin Conference, we'll also be hearing about the one in Ethiopia coming up a little bit later. Hannah will be sharing that. Mauritius event, December 3rd to 5th. This one expecting about 3,500 attendees from 45 countries for Africa Bitcoin Conference. And then in diaspora and Asia and the world, Bitcoin Seoul, June event, about 12,000 attendees, 40% international participation, diaspora remittances, which is up based from Asia, diaspora African communities in Asia, increased Bitcoin remittances by 78% year over year. I used to live in Singapore for quite some time. And, that was a really big, we had a lot of communities and people being able to send, money and funds back at a very good price, right? So now that drops the fees down from 7% to like 0.5%, which is really big. Instead of most of your money being taken, I can tell you actually a lot of people send much higher, like 20%, very predatory rate. So this is very good. And people can send stable coins, USDT, things like that as well. Corporate integration. So South Korea, Samsung, Japan, SoftBank have added Bitcoin to treasury reserves. Hong Kong approved 3 new Bitcoin funds. Lightning Network growth also. And we have that happening in Asian and African markets. This is a faster layer that's on top of Bitcoin network that can send fast transactions using what we call the Lightning Network. Another one that AI taught me about as I did my research for this one, which is Bitcoin Ikasi, apparently South African community initiative. They have a closed economy kind of similar to what Bitfiasi, what you guys Gideon will tell you about later in Ghana. But what they have, basically 85% of local businesses now accept Bitcoin, and they have a circular economy where Bitcoin is being paid and used for different payments. And the innovative approach has education programs, teach blockchain concepts and African storytelling methods. There's also something called the Wakanda Messenger, which has nothing to do with this meetup group, by the way. But apparently this has been running for some time, 12.4 million users across 18 countries, and it has peer-to-peer financial services integrated. Also SocialFi integration as well, and real-world asset tokens have been increasing. The number we have here is 342 million in liquid African assets. So now we're going to be able to use tokenization for that, which is huge, because what that means is it's been so hard. I remember having a conversation a few years ago in the business that I've been doing for financial inclusion. And there was a guy, I think he's in Zambia. He had a mine just full of like rare earths and minerals and all kinds of wealth, but he could not do anything because he didn't have enough money just to do the site survey to get started, mining that. So now what we're able to do with tokenization, we can tokenize that mine, and when we tokenize it, we can send tokens over. Let's say a group of us like, hey, we want to help, we want to invest in what you're doing. We get tokens that represent some ownership of the minerals. And then those tokens will give him the money that he needs for site surveys, mining equipment, and everything else that he needs, right? So instead of sitting there, and I think actually what he had to do, it ended up like a Chinese company came and started and basically took the minerals out. But it'd be much better if he could have done it himself and local Africans could have that ownership and diaspora could help. So that's what tokenization does. I'm very excited about this idea and looking to see that develop. Okay. So challenges and opportunities in Africa and diaspora, inconsistent cross-border regulations. And I think, unfortunately, it's probably going to be the case for a while, but I think we need to move at a, person-to-person level, peer-to-peer level, and keep on building in the private sector. And I'm sure the governments will come along and catch up. Same thing happens in the West, right? AI, Web3, synergy. AI is huge for this right now. The two biggest things in banking and financial services is AI and blockchain. Okay. I was listening to Larry Fink, who's one of the the guy over BlackRock. He was talking at one of the large banks, and that was basically what he said. AI and blockchain, those are the two key areas in financial services right now. So these are things we should be keeping a really strong eye on as well. I was actually talking to one of my team members from previously who's working in AI sector in Ghana. There's a lot of people getting involved in that, so something really to keep an eye on. Infrastructure gaps, 43% of rural populations lack reliable internet and smartphone penetration, although we have that one that I just talked about. You can do it on a regular little flip phone, feature phone as well to send Bitcoin. And of course, education. So we really want people to learn about become more digitally literate, because you can't be left out of this. Otherwise, you end up being left two financial cycles ago back. So you really need to learn about what's happening digitally now, right? So we want to make sure we're educating people. And with Bitfiasi and the Ethiopia conference we're going to hear about later, they are focused on that education, right? So United Africa, we have a spotlight here on blockchain training and capacity building in Africa. And the African Blockchain Association, UABA Smart Zambia Institute, they've launched across, I think, 8 countries and upskilled 215 government officials, which is really important government understands. So they're doing public sector transformation, private-public collaboration. And that's the way Silicon Valley started in the US, right? So they had private companies that collaborated with the government and the education institutions, and they were able to effectively get all those technologies running, right? So I think things you're seeing in Nigeria, in Kenya, South Africa, other markets, Ghana, right? You're seeing those same kind of things happening now. And economic impact, projections indicate blockchain implementation could create 2.3 million new jobs across Africa by 2028 and reduce administrative costs by 32%. And I think that's very likely because blockchain is a virtual nature. People can easily be paid. People can easily, learn about these technologies, and there's a lot of new opportunities that are going to come from that across the continent. All right. This one, the future of blockchain and digital Wakanda and beyond. We talk about the idea of these meetups being to create a digital Wakanda, right? I'm sure most are familiar with it from the movie, Black Panther, right? So self-sovereignty, financial independence through decentralized systems where everybody has access to finances, tokens, Bitcoin, stable coins, tokenized, assets, interoperable ecosystems. So seamless connection between African diaspora. So if you're in the Caribbean, you're in the UK, you're in the US, you're in Canada, you're in Asia, you're in Singapore, Hong Kong, you have the ability to transact and to be able to support this ecosystem. Innovation hubs, right? So conferences like we'll hear from Hannah a little bit later, Ethiopia, hackathons, education centers like Bitfiasi in Accra that we're going to hear from later too, and fostering talent development. And then the whole idea of the transformation vision of having a digital Wakanda, leading blockchain adoption and social impact and economic growth. So we want really everybody to get on board. The more people learn about this, it's the better for all of us because this is the new financial system that there's going to be. So the best thing is for Africa to be and diaspora to be leading and to be engaged in that actively and not left behind it. Okay. All right, we see GDP growth projections of about 4.8% annually. We have to check those numbers, but I'm sure there's a lot of upside for African diaspora. So join the movement, innovate, educate, empower, right? Community engagement, join the meetups, join the communities we're going to hear from shortly, practical tools, things like using that Kanchurk Machankura wallet and the kind of messenger, again, not from our group, but it looks like it's a good app. Onboarding and support, and for joining the meetups, of course, and continue to educate people and collaborative projects. We want people to, go from here, meet up on the meetup platform, meet up outside, talk, see if there's things you can collaborate about and that you're able to get involved in. There's such a huge economy of tokenization and Bitcoin, and it's happening everywhere now that there's got to be different things that you can plug into, whether you're somebody who invests, whether you're somebody who just buys tokens, whether somebody trades stocks, whether you just give you information or your knowledge or share knowledge. There's a lot of different things that you can do that will help you to and help us all to build that digital Wakanda. So that I'm going to keep it pretty short. I'll ask if there's any questions. You can also ask questions at the end. Any questions before I go to our next presenter? Any questions at all? Yeah, you're the co-host, Isaac. And let's take a look at the agenda then. Our next speaker is going to be Bitfiasi. So Gideon, are you ready to present? Are you there, Gideon? You're on mute.
Yes, I am. I'm ready to present.
All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start sharing. And I'm going to hand it over to Gideon, who's with Bitfiasi in Accra in Ghana. And we have a few of our folks here as well, Daisy and others in Ghana. So welcome. And Gideon, let me hand it over to you.
All right, thank you. Let me share my screen. Oh. Yeah, hello. So I'm Gideon from Accra, Ghana. And in December 2023, a friend of mine and we decided to come together to start this project called Bitfiasi Initiative. But we actually kicked off in March 2024. So we've just been over a year now, and we've made good progress along the way, even though we've had a lot of challenges, and it's been an interesting journey. So my background is in software engineering. I'm a software engineer for about 10 years now, but actually got into blockchain about 2018 thereabouts. So my interest in blockchain was Bitcoin, and blockchain was not even about finance. It was mainly about the technology, but that was what intrigued me. So studying the technology for a period of time then led me down the path of finance, where it got me to start studying money. Then along the way, it's as every Bitcoiner gets this, it suddenly clicks in your mind and realize, wait a minute, it's like there's some kind of system running here that we are not all aware of. And so at that point, I also began just buying bit by bits and here and there. And it's been a good journey. So then I decided to also teach others about Bitcoin. And I've been doing it informally for a long time now before I decided to start Bitfiasi. So in my current role as a software engineer, I also work with a Bitcoin company, BitNob, which is runs from Nigeria. So it's quite popular in Nigeria and around Africa. So in my daily work and in my work on Bitfiasi has all been about Bitcoin and blockchain. So over here in Ghana, a lot of people have heard about Bitcoin. And the good thing now is Bitcoin prior to 2021, it's like there's now a renewed mentality around Bitcoin. Previously, when you speak to people about Bitcoin prior to 2021, it was all about Bitcoin is a scam, people trying to cheat you, to take your money, trying to trick you. That was the mentality around it, and people shunned from it. So even those in Bitcoin were not comfortable talking to others about Bitcoin. But currently, it's very, very different at the moment. You can practically walk down the street and ask someone about Bitcoin, and they'll be like, I've heard about it, but I don't know much about it. And they're open to learning. So that's the mentality we have right here now, right here in Ghana. People are open to Bitcoin at the moment. So at Bitfiasi, we are focused on the education and community support for everyday Bitcoin usage. Even though Bitcoin is used as a tool for investment for many, but we want to take it beyond that. We want to encourage people to actually use it for transactions, whether it's for purchasing of items or for remittances. Because in our initial work, we're trying to get people to save in Bitcoin, invest in Bitcoin for the long term. But we realized people were always coming back to us with the same question: we've been saving in Bitcoin, what next? So we realized that they wanted something else after just saving in Bitcoin. Because people do not really see it as a form of savings. The mentality is so stuck in the banking mode where you put your money in the bank and you kind of forget about it. But we're trying to shift that mentality to have people actually own their own money with, as compared to saving it in a bank or another institution. So people want to move just beyond just saving in Bitcoin. So that led us to start the circular economy, where we now get businesses and talk to them to start accepting Bitcoin. But realize people just don't want to keep their Bitcoins, they want to also spend it. So in doing that, we got a community which is just close by Accra, which is Dodowa, where we planning on beginning we've already began, but we are trying to move into the next phase of our circular economy. We used the first half of the year to do a pilot to see how they were interested in the project, and it's been a great it's been great how the people have embraced what we've been teaching them and trying to apply it. But as we all may know, Africa and Ghana is plagued with some key issues, which are many don't understand how money works. Most local currencies, if not all, are very unstable. And Bitcoin is either unknown or misunderstood. And people are seeking financial freedom, but they don't know where to start. Because it's a thing I keep hearing, financial freedom, but where do you really start with financial freedom? And what does freedom even mean? I think I put a poll out to my community this week, asking them about what freedom meant to them. And from the options I had, let me just take a second and read it out. So I asked, Bitcoin is often called freedom money, but what does freedom really mean to you? And I gave some options as being in control of your own money, not depending on banks or government systems, being able to earn and spend without permission, having peace of mind about your own future. So these are the options I gave out, and majority went for being able to earn and spend without permission. Then the second was being in control of your own money. So from that alone, that tells me what freedom actually means to the people in our community. That's being in control of their money and being able to spend and earn without permission. And we know with our current systems, that's not even possible. And finally, the youth and women are often left out of financial opportunities. And that has been what we have been facing over here. So our mission is to teach people how Bitcoin works in simple, clear language. We try to make them know about all the risks involved, so they do not get scammed or defrauded of their money. And aside that, we make it clear about the other cryptocurrencies around, that not all cryptocurrencies are the same. So you can't think Bitcoin is similar to Ethereum, is similar to Solana or any other cryptocurrency. So we guide individuals and businesses who want to save in Bitcoin, how to go about it safely, the platform they can trust, and how to secure the Bitcoins itself. Then we also help the women and the youth, especially in the groups. Because sometimes we have some churches that come to us to speak to the youth, to the women groups, that we go to them to talk to them about Bitcoin. And with usually the women elderly group, it's kind of difficult trying to get them to understand the concept, but we try as much as possible for them to grasp it. And also a local economy that we are creating, we are trying to encourage people to spend their Bitcoins. So we try to give incentives that would help the people that spend their Bitcoin. But we know Bitcoin also, the value of Bitcoin also rises as more people adopt and use it. So our key vision is to primarily help in the financial literacy, which is if you I don't have the figures now, but if you have to check from last year's publishment, it was very, very low in Ghana. So it's one key thing we are trying to do ourselves. And also we plan to, our vision is to have Bitcoin being widely used safely in all spheres of our lives in terms of money. I want to have help people live with greater freedom and not being restricted by financial systems that we have. So in doing all this, we have 4 main projects that we are running. So the first is the Bitcoin for Beginners course. So it's a 7-week course that teaches basics of Bitcoin and how to use it safely, and most importantly, saving. So we go with the dollar cost averaging approach. So as beginners, we don't want them involved in trading, because trading is, as I always tell them, it's not something you can learn in a day or a week. It takes time to actually, as we saw with the sessions we've had so far. I think this is my 2nd time joining. By the way, the 2 realize that it's not something you can just start and be able to do it confidently by yourself in a short time. But with dollar cost averaging, you actually rid yourself of all those challenges in the initial stages. So we lead them on the path of dollar cost averaging. We try to set them up on wallets that support automated savings, so it becomes easy for them to do. And this course is primarily for women. We don't, unfortunately for the guys, this course, we only run it for the women. Well, we realize with such programs, once we leave it open, it's flooded with a lot of guys, and women do not get the opportunity to come in, or they do not even feel comfortable just coming in, because they view it as a tech thing for guys. So once the guys are there, the women just take a step back. I think about a couple of months ago, we had a program. So when we have program, we initially advertise a lot of women first to get them to sign up and come before we try to get the males to come in. But for that program, we decided to just leave it open and not just target any specific gender. And we had about 40 attendees, and they were all men. There was no single woman involved. So that just those are just something we were trying to see, but that just proved that not targeting only women alone usually makes them reluctant in coming. Then we have our circular economy project in Dodowa. As I said earlier, we try to get the community, which is about 110,000, based on the last census we had, to adopt Bitcoin alongside the Ghana cities. We also visit schools to organize in-person workshops, which we've currently been to about 4 schools, senior high schools, and had sessions on Bitcoin, trying to get them to understand it from the early age of 15, 16, 17, before turning adults. So before turning adult, and they're already comfortable and know about Bitcoin. But we've had a few challenges. There were some schools, the head of schools are not comfortable with us discussing Bitcoin with their students. But others also embrace us and are open to learning new things. Then lastly, we have a webinar we do monthly, which is a sound money webinar. So this is focused on money, world building, and the role Bitcoin plays in financial freedom. So far we've been up and running for about 1.5 years, and with our Bitcoin for Beginners program, we've had 2 cohorts so far, and we've had a total of 60 people or 60 women graduating from it. Our next cohort, which is the 3rd, will begin next week Thursday. And we currently have 42 women registered and ready to go. And so far, with trying to onboard merchants, we have 6 merchants or business owners who have joined us to begin accepting Bitcoin payments. Then from our visits to senior high schools, we have a total of about 8,000 students we've spoken to or engaged in the conversation of Bitcoin. And with our webinars that we run, so far we have 83 subscribers. That's from both, we run on Luma and Eventbrite. So for a combined 83 subscribers. So I'll shift focus to just our circular economy. So Dodo, as I mentioned, is in the greater Accra region of Ghana, just about an hour drive from Accra. And it's kind of a peri-urban, even though it's close to Accra, it's not well developed like Accra. So that was one of the reasons we chose to have our project there, because it's a bit calmer. With Accra, everybody is focused on work. But I want where people can be a bit relaxed to think about, to engage in other activities such as ours. And for my first meeting with John, he asked me what Dodowa means, and I couldn't give him an answer. So I did my own research on it. And it means that understanding that even where you think there isn't anything, you can find everything. So I did my research and I'm giving him my answer today. So these are how we run our economy there. We try to involve the locals. So we've gotten local guides who do the teaching. We've taught them about Bitcoin and everything. So they in turn go around to teach the people in the community. Because some of us, we live in Accra, so it's not every time we can get a chance to go to the community. So we've involved the locals to do that. So at the moment, where we are, we're looking for builders, educators, and supporters. We also want mentors, donors, volunteers, and opportunities for grants, sponsorships, and also share and amplify our works so we can all connect together. So in our team, we have myself and the others, my other co-founder, Senna, who is our program director, and our education programs liaison, Onome, who helps with everything education. So on social media, we are there at Bitfiasi, and our website, email, and our location at Dodowa, the Business Resource Center. So thank you very much.
You have questions for Gideon? Anyone have questions? So I'll ask you one actually to start out, Gideon. So you were saying, I guess, two things. You have that, I think, like the circular economy where you were doing something similar to like the one in South Africa where you're having people pay and do transactions in Bitcoin. I wanted to see how that's going. I think you talked about it a little bit, or more. Is there also ways that people can support that? And then I was interested. So you actually said that women were not necessarily attending when mostly men came to the education. Are a lot of women taking up in Ghana now with Bitcoin and becoming more involved in it? So I guess two questions.
So yeah, currently women have become more involved in Bitcoin. And so during programs, usually Bitcoin events are usually themed technology events. So those who not involved or not interested in technology don't really attend those events. For example, yesterday there was an event by Binance, and the ratio of men to women was pretty large because it's themed. Binance is a tech company and it's tech-based, so that's where the mentality goes. But when it's centered towards women, that's what triggers in the mind first. It's always a women event or it's focused on women. Then before the financial and Bitcoin part even clicks. So that attracts them more to those events. And currently there are a lot of women being very much interested in Bitcoin. But from our courses we've done and from people we speak to realize that everyone now is open to Bitcoin. I think that's what I can say. And with our circular economy, yeah, so the challenge there has been to get the businesses themselves to accept Bitcoin because it's what they've always talked about has to do with the accounting, taxes. It's been that's where their challenge has been in accepting Bitcoin. But what I've done with them is to set their price in Ghana cedis. There's no need you don't have to set your price in dollars or in Bitcoin. So whatever price, however you price your items in Bitcoin, or in cedis, then the equivalent is paid in Bitcoin. So we have apps that actually help with the conversion, so it becomes easier to receive payments. And the other side, there are some people that are not willing to part with their Bitcoin. They deem it too valuable to use Bitcoin to pay for soap, for example.
Yeah.
But others too are willing to pay for very small amounts less than $3 and other stuff. They are okay spending the Bitcoin on it. So at the moment where we are right now, we are still doing a lot of education, but for people to use it safely and confidently, they need to be well educated on it. So we are still doing very much in the field of education. And the next month, we are looking to have around a 3-week education course for them. We've partnered with, or we are with My First Bitcoin, which is in El Salvador, in the business of El Salvador now. So we use their course materials to train them. So we'll be doing that next month. So currently we have 14 people registered now, but we are still trying to involve more people to get to reach more people to register to take part in the course. So what we do is
just share the link for the course, Gideon. We can post it in the group for people as well.
All right. So what we are trying to do is to get them, we offer them some Bitcoin, then they can go to the shops that accept Bitcoin at the moment to just buy some items there, just to have a feel of how Bitcoin works. I think that's what really sinks in when you have people actually making transactions in Bitcoin. Is at that moment they realize that, oh, so Bitcoin is money. Then they start thinking of it in that respect. Yeah.
And I think one other thing, Gideon, that you can, I mean, because I understand why people want to hold on to their Bitcoin. I certainly hold on to Bitcoin. Is that people can also borrow against their Bitcoin now. So either DeFi, there's a way to borrow, so they can actually keep it or do wrapped Bitcoin, WBTC, and then they can actually borrow, dollars against their Bitcoin. And that way they don't have to give up their Bitcoin, but they can still use it for currency and transactions, because that there is obviously a good likelihood it's going to get a lot more valuable. So that's something people can do also.
All right. Thank you.
So getting a question as well. Thank you for your presentation. I think it was really good, and I'm absolutely work that you guys are doing. You mentioned about trying to get the education into the schools. Have you continued with that, or what's the next? What's the direction of that? Because obviously the younger generation are going to be the ones that are really going to take this forward. So if you are able to get into this in some capacity into the curriculum, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, so on that last year, we really pushed with that. We went to the Ghana Education Service to talk to them about what we are doing, so that once we get approval from the Ghana Education Service, they can basically walk into any senior high school in Ghana and they wouldn't be able to turn you down. You just have to fit into their schedule, then you'll be able to speak to the students. So we sent a letter there, we held a meeting with them, and the next step was for them to have a meeting to whether to approve or not of what we are trying to do. But then it was getting to, last year Ghana had an election, and it was getting to elections, so that wasn't able to hold. And there was a change of government, so all the directors were changed. So it means we'll have to restart the process and the whole process again. So that's the angle we want to take. Beside that, we still speak to some influential people in the schools and teachers to try and hold sessions there. So currently we currently know someone at Ganata Senior High School, which is a senior high school in Dodowa, who is one of the administrators and already loves the idea of Bitcoin. So with that, we've sent a letter there, and we are waiting for them to get us a date we can come and speak to the students about it. So we are still trying to push it in schools, but I'll say we get about 70% rejections anytime we try to. Just the mention of Bitcoin turns the heads away. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's a shame. But hopefully you start to see some more momentum in that direction. So yeah, well done to that.
Thank you.
Other questions? Great. All right. Well, thanks, Gideon, so much. And if you can stay on to the end, we'll do our closing Q&A. So we'll have an open session for everybody. Let me go over to Hannah now, going from West Africa over to East Africa and over to Ethiopia Blockchain Week. So Hannah, are you there?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
Yes. Okay. Are you anything on the sharing screen?
Yes, I have a short presentation.
Okay.
We can go through question and answer. And I also have my friend here, Nathan. So we will definitely chip in as well.
Okay.
And if you guys can see my screen.
Yep.
All right, wonderful. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you guys for giving me this opportunity to present about our upcoming Ethiopian Blockchain Week. So Ethiopian Blockchain Week is going to be September 6th and 7th. The 2 days event is going to be September 6th and 7th, but we're planning to have it as a week program, having a pre-event and a post-event. So this is going to be the first Ethiopian Blockchain Week. We've been having different events here and there, different trainings here and there, but we haven't really had one big thing that brings everybody together, that brings the ecosystem together. So this will be one big event that that everybody will come together, and all those people who've been working alone, thinking about crypto, blockchain, and definitely what this ecosystem is. This will be a good opportunity for everyone to come together and see the potential of blockchain in Ethiopia. So why Ethiopia matters? Why are we doing this in Ethiopia? The first thing is because we understand the power of blockchain, the power of crypto. Definitely, everybody has come into this space because of crypto, but most of us have stayed because we have seen the potential that it could bring for ourselves and for our country and for everybody that's involved in the crypto space or in the blockchain space. So why do we want to do this here? Because it has a massive potential. We are now the second largest population in Africa with over 135 million population, with 70% of that being the youth or under 30. And that's actually a really big potential, as well as since we are a landlocked country, we don't really have a big opportunity to use a port and import and export a lot of things. But what we have is the use, that is a really good opportunity, and educating that use and using exporting our mines, we can make a big impact in our country and better our lives. And that one way of doing this is using blockchain as well, for educating the use into learning into coming into this ICT system. So there is a developer ambition, which is the government planning to do. It's not actually planning. It has started teaching 5 million coders. It's very ambitious project, but they have been working on it for the past year or so, collaborating with different Indian companies, and I think it's funded by the Emiratis. But they're trying to teach 5 million coders so that we can be able to have a lot of one of the biggest issues that we have in the country is accessing foreign currency, because we don't really have international banks that we can use. We don't have access to the port, and there are so many issues that when it comes to foreign currency. So this is a really good opportunity to get that inflow of foreign currency. So the government has started this ambitious project. They're training different developers, but most of them are Web2 developers. So what we want to do is show the government and those students that there is an opportunity for you guys if you come into the blockchain space. There is a development opportunity, there is a work opportunity, there are so many things that you can do, and there are so many things that you can use blockchain for, that you can solve local problems with. So that's one of the things why we really want to organize the Ethiopian Blockchain Week. The other thing is there is a mining infrastructure in Ethiopia. So Ethiopia is one of the few countries. I'm not sure how many other countries are in Africa that allow Bitcoin mining, but Ethiopia allows Bitcoin mining within the country, because we have a huge electric system, hydroelectric system that we can use, and electricity is cheap. And the Ethiopian Electricity Authority has been able to gain a lot of money from selling its electricity to Bitcoin miners. So this is really a big thing that's really happening in our country now. Different mining companies are coming into Ethiopia. Most of them are Chinese, Russians, and other foreigners. They come here, they use their infrastructure and then use electricity, mine Bitcoin as well. So it's been a win-win for everybody so far. So this is a great opportunity, and we want to showcase that there is this opportunity for you if you come in and start mining Bitcoin. There's this cheap electricity, as well as this is actually happening in Ethiopia. That's one of the things that we want to show on this Ethiopian blockchain week. The other thing is there's a diplomatic significance. Addis Ababa is the capital city of Africa. There are a lot of diplomatic headquarters here in Addis. So that's actually really significant. And I mean, we kind of pride ourselves with being the center of Africa. It things, I know we're a bit late in this regard, but once we believe in it and we start working with it, I think there is a big potential to spread everything across Africa and also use that this opportunity to showcase that we are also on board with the world as well. So some of the things. So what would you expect in this Ethiopian Blockchain Week? So mostly what we want to do is talk about education, talk about adoption, talk about what blockchain can do for Ethiopia, for Africa, and what local innovations can actually bring in to the community, as well as how to create or to get access to that big capital that's moving around, but when we don't have access to the big goal that we have. But we're expecting at least 3,000 attendees because we have seen people are really interested. People are people are really interested in this blockchain ecosystem. It's just that they don't know how to access it, or they think blockchain is only about crypto. But most people heard about it because of different crypto airdrops and everything. Everybody has heard something about blockchain or something about crypto. They're skeptical about it, but they don't know how to get in. But there is the need. There is people need work. People need opportunities. People need to know what this is about. Even people in tech know about blockchain, but they really don't know how to get into blockchain. So we have all those people that are going to come together and attend this event and hear about it and see what projects are being done, who is doing what, and how can I invest, how can I be part of this, and is it really true that blockchain is actually something worth even exploring, or is it just a scam and a crypto thing only? So we're expecting about 3,000 attendees, which are going to be most of them are going to be local, but we're also expecting some people to fly into Ethiopia and join this event. So there's another one thing maybe worth mentioning here. This event is going to be in September 6th and 7th, which is the 13th month of the Ethiopian year. That is, the 13th month in Ethiopia is only 5 days. So the leap year is collected into 1 month, 5 days, so 5 days of 1 month. And then after that, after the fifth day is September 11th, then it's going to be a new year. So if you come into Ethiopia, you're going to have an experience of the blockchain week as well as all the festivities that comes with the new year. And there's Mescal coming after that on the 17th. So there is all that opportunity plus sure coming here and seeing the mining opportunities and different projects that are being done on the blockchain as well as in the IT ecosystem, in the AI ecosystem as well. So we do expect about 3,000 attendees. Different innovations. There are a few projects that we know of, we personally know of. One of them is my project we have presented a while back here as well. There are different projects that are being done here in Ethiopia. But since people are not really aware of them and what's happening, they're not able to invest, they're not able to showcase their work, or they're not able to engage with them. So that's what we're planning to do, to get everybody together and to show them that there is this opportunity. We do expect different leaders from the blockchain space, crypto space, as well as different leaders within the country, tech leaders and government, people that to attend to this event. And there are NFT creators here. We see them, most of them online, but we haven't had that opportunity to actually talk to them and get to know them and invest in their endeavor. So this is a great opportunity for everybody to do that. So what have we done so far? Some of the things that we have done so far, like we've registered more than 1,000 volunteers. We just put out a volunteer sheet so that we can get to know the temperature of the people as well as get some support from everybody. So you can go to our website and see how many volunteers there are actually. We've registered more than that. We've been able to build a community in different social media. So our Telegram group has almost about 800 people, and we have all of our social media up and running, and they are active. And yeah, people are engaging, they're interested, they ask questions. So what we're doing using our social media is, so this Japan Blockchain Week, as I said, is we're trying to gather everyone at one space and show that opportunity. But in the meantime, leading to that event, we're also sharing different opportunities that come, different educational sessions that come on our way, because people share. There is this hackathon, there is this educational session, there is this project that's being run. So we're sharing all those things so that people can actually stay engaged and see the opportunity even before they come into the event and see that thing in person as well. So that's what we're doing. We've been running social media content challenge, which has been really amazing. People are creating different content. Some of them use AI, some of them write, some of them do user generated content. And it's been really, really fun and amazing to see all those content creators. So we've been rewarding people with 5,000 dir every week. Now this is going to be the 4th week starting on Monday. So we've been able to do that. That would allow us to reach into people that we are not able to reach, that are actually outside of our communication, our social media, and so on. So this has been really amazing and engaging. So I've been engaging with sponsors, and hopefully by the week's end, we're definitely finalize some of our sponsors. We have secured our venue. We are giving visa support to whoever is those people who are planning to come to Ethiopia and stay here for a while. We're running a weekly update and community meeting so that people are engaged and people can see what we are doing, what we have done so far, and what we plan to do as well. So we're registering side events as well. So when people come to Addis, we don't want them to just to attend and leave, but we want them to have the Addis experience. So what is it like to communicate with the people? What is it like to go out and have fun and this and that? So we're registering different side events where people could say, I have this event, you can come here and have this time with us. We're having this experience. You can come see our gallery. We have this exhibition and so on. So we've been able to do that so far. So what are the things that you guys can do with us? You can join our volunteer team. Obviously, it's always everybody is always welcome to volunteer and support us in different ways. So how can you do that? One of the ways you can do is if you have a company or you want to sponsor in any way, you're definitely welcome to sponsor or get us in contact with different sponsors that would be happy to actually get this to run, and those people who want to actually communicate with the community. Maybe one thing that I haven't written here that I forgot is we have a teens event, which are so the teenagers are really, really active in the community, which are about from 12-year-old to 18, 19. Those kids are really, really active. And in one of the first meetings, they actually requested saying, you guys are preparing this for the adults. What about us? We need some event. We need to communicate to our friends as well. So we have a teens organizing team. They're very active. I can see them in Telegram. So they're organizing their own event within the Ethiopian Blockchain Week. So they have their speakers, they have their educational program set up, they have their content set up. So there is definitely going to be the teams event where teams can actually talk to their peers and tell them what blockchain is, what they're doing, and talk to them about their projects and so on. We have a few of them that are community builders, and those who have NFTs, those who have their own websites where you can buy and sell your NFTs. So they're going to be active and they're going to be talking to their peers. They're definitely going to have their own views, and definitely they're going to be there. So you can sponsor that one if you want, or you can share this. We have a pitch deck for the sponsorship, another pitch deck. I haven't included the pitch deck here yet. I just wanted to tell you guys what it's going to be like. So the other thing is, as I said, you can sponsor, or your company can sponsor, or you can get us in contact with other sponsors, or you can help us with such events, getting the word out. For example, being here today and talking to you guys is such an amazing help. But you can also tell the community, the people that you know of, that this is happening, even those who are within the country or the people who would like to travel here and talk to or come to the event as well. So we definitely need community engagements. You can join us on Ethiopian Blockchain Network as well as Ethiopian Blockchain Week, and talk about it. Tell people, be there, engage, ask us questions, let people know that this is happening. And one more thing is that the Ethiopian Blockchain Week is the first one, but it's not going to be the last one, and it's not going to be the only one within the year. Definitely, we're going to do this every year, hopefully in September. But within the year, we plan from 3 to 4 events that are not going to be this big, but small events where there will definitely be for the community to come together to engage and ask their questions, show off their projects, and so on. So we have different events planned during the year as well. So yeah, thank you so much for having me here. If you have any questions, I'm really happy to answer them. And I hope to see you guys in Japan Blockchain Week. I hope that you'll be here and we'll get to meet in person as well.
Okay, questions. Anybody have
Yes.
questions for Hannah about Ethiopia Blockchain Week?
Maybe Nathan, do you have anything to add? Can I invite my friend? Is that possible?
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe some things that I haven't shared. Nathan, you are around, right?
No, I'm
He's around.
just to
Yes,
say
cool.
that, hello, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
yes, we can hear you.
Yeah, no, I'm just happy that we can share this with you guys because we want to give everybody the experience of Addis, but also not just Addis, but the real blockchain community of Addis. That's why we wanted to spread it out over a week and have so many different things going on. There's so many different parts of this community, from the educational side and the devs to the traders and everybody in between. Excuse me, and everybody in between. So we just want to showcase, all of the building that has happened, and I think Ethiopia has not been known for that as much. So we just want to publicize and share that.
I had a couple of questions for you guys, Hannah, Nathan. The mining, you guys mentioned the Bitcoin mining, which is a really big thing. You have the Renaissance Dam, and there's huge amounts of Bitcoin mining taking place. I'd ask you in our pre-session kind of about, if Ethiopia is actually keeping any Bitcoin. Has any update on that? Has that changed? Are they keeping any? Are they considering keeping any? What is that? Maybe you can explain also how they're handling that.
Yeah. So they haven't said anything officially, but the rumor is they are working with one company to actually learn the process of Bitcoin mining and so on. But there are different opinions on this one. Some people say it's just better if we sell our electricity instead of trying to build all that data center and spend all that money in the infrastructure and mining. Instead of doing that, Ethiopia could just sell the electricity and buy the Bitcoin and have that result. So there are two debates, but the government hasn't really said anything about mining themselves. But there are some initiatives that they are working on. They are working on how to do that with other companies. There is that, remember, not official yet.
Yeah, we were talking about, it'd be very valuable, obviously, not only that they're mining, but they're keeping a reserve of Bitcoin as well, like El Salvador and some others are doing. And then for the visas, if for people who are traveling there, are the visa requirements, what are like for Africa, for international, are they fairly straightforward? Are you able to just share a little bit about what the visa requirements are?
I think it depends on different countries, but yes, Nathan would have more information on that one. Yes, please.
Yeah. So it is relatively straightforward for most some people and make sure that coming in is smoother as long as you coordinate with us early enough, because the event is about a month away. So given about a week or two in advance, if we know, very easy for us to support and that application. Another kind of measure that we're taking just to make sure that everybody can make it. If everybody who's interested can make it.
Okay, good. So you guys will basically, people can reach out to you if they want any support in getting these anything, you'll be able to help them with that. There he is. Yep. Okay. Good. I think the connection kind of went in and out a little bit, but hopefully you're there, Nathan. Other questions that people have for Hannah, Nathan, and the Ethiopia blockchain week?
Hi, Hannah. So a question for me. Thank you for your presentation. It was very informative. And it's good to hear that there's obviously lots of different regional countries in Africa are adopting different ways of engaging the community with the Bitcoin use. I think it was just more on the back of the presentation we had from Bitfiasi. Is there anything similar happening with businesses adoption or not adopting or trying to get education into like the curriculum?
Yes, so I would say we're doing most of the things individually. There's no support from the government because they really don't know how to engage with crypto yet. But blockchain is in Ethiopia is not shunned, but it's taken cautiously because when people talk about blockchain, they're mostly into crypto, and there are so many scams and this and that. But blockchain has been here for quite a while. I think Cardano has been here for quite a while. Maybe Nathan can add on that one. They've been working with the government for quite some time. So they see it, the government sees it as a technology, and it's being taught in the universities as well. But it's not majorly a thing in Ethiopia. But what we're trying to do is we do have different blockchains coming and teaching their own coding language. For example, Stellar is a bit active now. They have their cohort too. That's the third event coming up this week. Celio has been here, Forfado has been here, Cardano has been here for a while, but nothing really has been done that's actually pushed beyond those things. Businesses, definitely they cannot say we do this, but off the books, most people kind of, especially business people, kind of use crypto to transfer money here and there and so on, but nothing legal, nothing official. When it comes to blockchain, there are initiatives that happen, but nothing in a big way because of regulation. And I know they're trying to adapt the regulations, but they still need support. One of the things that I believe this Ethiopian Blockchain Week will support is seeing that how many people are actually aware of it, how many people are interested, how many people will be able to use it, seeing how much interest there is and how much use case there is will definitely initiate the government to take some action. That's one of the things that we're hoping for this event to do.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Other questions? Ethiopia Blockchain Week, and also we'll also go to general. So if there's other questions generally, also Bitfiasi, anything that I shared on the different updates that are happening in the markets and the trading that Isaac went over, or anything else that anybody would like to ask about, please feel free to do that now. And I thank you. Really great presentations. Very good to see all the progress you guys are making as well. I was also going to ask actually for I guess the youth, the teens, you said they're doing their own separate conference. Is that, so they're kind of like coordinating it themselves?
So it's within the 2 days, but they are preparing their own speakers. They're preparing their own booths where the teams can show their their work and everything, and they're preparing a short presentation for their peers, peer-to-peer teaching, so that the youth can also see that there is an opportunity that you can actually do this. So what we're trying to do is present it for the parents so that they can bring their kids to see this event. There are a few AI boot camps here as well. So we're planning to get them to join the event so that people can see that there is a coding class, there is an AI class that you can take your kids during the summer as well as this is a time for you to teach your kids, and if they're interested, this is the time to pursue. So that's what we're trying to do, but they're doing it themselves, so it makes it more like they understand each other. They know how to talk to each other. I would know how to talk to. I do know how to talk to a teenager, but it's more like they understand what they want. So we're supporting them in doing those things. But it's within those 2 days.
I really like that you guys are doing the AI part as well. I was talking about earlier, AI and blockchain. Basically, these are two big things in banks and finance and financial services, everything that's happening right now. AI obviously is driving a lot. Things are changing so fast, but basically the payments layer, we'll call it, all the payments are happening on blockchain, right? So what will be used for all the payments, the AI internet, is going to be the blockchain. So it's really good that you guys are connecting those two together.
Thank you.
I have a small question for Anna. Do you know how many Web3 startups are evolving in Ethiopia, for example?
Are there any? I'm sorry. Are there any?
Is there how many Web3 startup are evolving in Ethiopia?
A few of them that I know, at least there is Waga protocol, there is ETN, ETN's Aquarian ecosystem, there is the Indubis wallet. Those are the 3 basics that I know of. But there is one person who has built a medical medicine traceability system that I know, but we're registering them, so we should be finding out a bit more. These are the main ones that are actually available around us that we hear of. There is also a payment system that they're working on. There are 2 payment systems actually there that are being worked on. One is Santim Pay that's being built on Base, and there is I forgot the name, one being built on Stellar as well. There are a couple of projects that are happening.
Okay. And they're building technologies to sell to Ethiopian companies or maybe international?
Most of them are local. For example, I can tell you about the Waga project, Waga protocol. It's a coffee tokenization project. So basically what we're doing is trying to do the traceability system, the technology part of tracing coffee. That's what we're trying to do. So we're going to sell that system to local companies, especially Ethiopia is one of the biggest coffee producers in Africa. Okay. But most of the things are wasted, how the coffee system goes, people are not getting paid on time and so forth. So our first plan is to work with those Ethiopian companies who are already exporting coffee, but don't really have that traceability system and that payment system that's actually fast, where they can get their money instantly. So that one is definitely built for Ethiopian users who are already on the system, but need that support of traceability and quick access to their money as well. So that's one project that's being done. Payment systems are really important, but I'm not sure how the government is going to accept it, because as Ethiopians, we don't have any payment system as of now. We don't have any payment system that we can use internationally. That's why most people come to crypto, because you can use your crypto and pay for your Netflix subscription or whatever payments that you want. So that would be an amazing system, but it might need a little bit of time, or it might need a little bit of convincing that so that the government can actually say, okay, let's do this. But we know there is one bank who uses blockchain for their payment system, for their remittance service. which is an amazing progress. And we hope to have them in the blockchain week as well to showcase what they're doing and show that, you know, we are actually using this for a banking system, so others can join as well.
Okay, great. Great.
We have a question from Lennox in the chat. His mic's not working, but he asked, what blockchain is the educational curriculum based on? And how are you integrating AI with the Web3 application? So 2 questions, I guess.
Okay, what blockchains are we using? There are different blockchains that come, but the one that I am actively working with is Stellar. So Stellar is here. It's been a short time that they've been here, but they're teaching developers their coding language, the Rust coding language. And yeah, that's one of the active blockchains here in Ethiopia. Cardano, of course, definitely have been here. People have been building it on Cardano. They have different projects. There's Cardano Academy happening. There are events happening that work with Cardano. So those are 2 blockchains that I know of. I know Polkadot is here. They have trainings. They're not really big, but they do trainings now and then. But one of the other things is that I don't think most people or most blockchains actually see the potential. Maybe even our behavior might be a bit tough because we're not really outgoing people. We don't really show off. We're not very active as a community. So I don't think most people see the opportunity. But so for Ethiopia, until Nathan really says this a lot, until people understand, it might be an uphill struggle. But once they get it, they just get it. You know, they don't let go. And we're very fast after that. But until we get it, we take some time. And I don't think most people have seen that yet, how much potential we have, how much of the use that we have, how much resources and energy we have. Most communities do not know. But one crypto exchange that actually really understood this is Binance. And Binance has been here for about 3 years, and it doesn't seem like they're going anywhere. They're pursuing, like they're really doing a lot of things to actually get into the government and make this happen. So, and how are we planning to integrate AI into the blockchain? So I'm not really a technical person, so I don't know how they're going to use it, but we want to show that there are these AI projects that are being done. For example, I can tell you a few of AI projects that I know. AI translation for Amharic translation. Amharic is a bit weird, so you can't directly translate it. So if you do Google Translate, it just doesn't work. You have a miscommunication. So that's one of the things. There's Hasab AI, and we can just show them how you can use this, which we're building. You can bring it into the blockchain and help more people, onboard more people into your ecosystem, as well as get your payments and crypto as well. So those are a few things.
I would add for the AI piece that as you said, it's being integrated into everything. So Lennox, your question, I was actually talking to somebody earlier this week who's doing development centers in Kenya. So we talked to you about that, and we were talking about doing something similar in Ghana, where we have kind of young developers who are learning to use AI and basically support different projects. But it really gets integrated into everything, whether it's thinking about, what tokens are going to be sent, how to work with the smart contracts, what you're going to look at, analyzing, the different price things that are happening, all kinds of things. So using those AI interfaces is really important for almost every project. And maybe Lennox, I'll ping you about that later because there's some interesting things that we're looking at, but really key. And I was going to ask also as a follow-up, I don't know, Lennox, if you have another follow-up on that, but Cardano, that was like really big news a few years ago. The Cardano in Ethiopia, has it been like becoming less with Cardano, or is there still a lot happening with Cardano?
Nathan, maybe if you have a bit more information, because I know only a few developers and people that are involved in Cardano, but I don't know if it's getting better or it's calming down. Nathan, do you have any information on that one?
I would say it's a mixed bag. They have some developers still, they have some presence, but they used to have like a major office in Addis, like the Africa HQ used to be in Addis, but they moved their offices. So their main office is not in Addis anymore. They have a bigger presence in Nairobi. I think since their office has left, I would say it's decreased a bit. Not entirely. They still have a presence, but it's definitely decreased over the last, I would say, 3 years, 2 or 3 years.
And you guys said that Binance is becoming very big there now.
Yeah.
Binance is massive.
As always.
That's
Yeah.
huge is an understatement.
Yeah.
They're massive.
Yeah.
Like they have access
But
to
they're not-
like officials in the national bank. They have access to everybody and everything. And they've
Yeah.
done the work of learning the ecosystem and meeting the right people and putting themselves in front of those people.
Yeah,
Also,
Binance
they've
is actually
used
making. Oh, go ahead.
educational. Yeah,
Mhm.
they've used educational. For example, there's a Telegram group where I mean, I've been a Binance angel for 3 years now, so where we go online and teach people about Binance and blockchain and crypto and everything. So they have slowly, I can say, I mean, the peer-to-peer market has been really here for a while, but also they've worked on educating people about the platform and the use case and everything. So yeah, they've done an amazing work getting into the ecosystem. So they're the trusted ones, but are they really giving back to the communities? That's a good question.
Yeah, they've been doing a lot all across Africa. They've been very engaged, and I like it because I think it's really powerful for financial inclusion. It's something I've used for my teams to, pay team members, and the platform has allowed them to be able to locally to get, their currency into local currency, and they've done a lot of really good stuff. So I really like them. Let's see, we've got Lennox. Is this for everyone? Let's see. Good thing you're using Russ. Okay, so this is a comment from Lennox. He says it's a good thing you're using Rust because Stellar is not compatible with Ethereum. So getting technical here, thereby missing out on the bigger Web3 ecosystem, putting learners at a disadvantage. Cardano faces the same issues and its scalability is still in development. I'd recommend Polygon. You guys are using that because it's Ethereum and it's layer 2 blockchain with wide compatibility across the ecosystem. And Lennox, by the way, was part of my team. He's based in Kenya and he's a developer. So he's giving you guys kind of the developer's perspective there. But I guess he likes Polygon, is the one that he's mentioning there. Other questions? All right. Very good. Go ahead, John Mark. You gonna say something else?
I was not available the last meeting because it was 11 p.m. in France.
Yeah, it was late. We had a late one last time.
Can you make just sum up about you were launching a project, but I didn't follow up.
Yeah, so we're working on basically the idea is to do kind of real estate across the continent and to have kind of Bitcoin real estate tokenized real estate in multiple different countries. And we're basically getting a group together who would be interested in helping to launch that. There are actually some Bitcoin residences already. There's already one in the Gambia. There's already in Dubai. But the idea is to kind of have like a physical place that gives people something physical they can see. Because I think, like Gideon was talking about earlier, a lot of people hear Bitcoin or they hear cryptocurrency and they think, oh, there's a scam. And so when people actually see some physical, building physical location that is connected to it, it gives a little more of a confidence that, oh, this is something real. This is something that we can, and then the idea is not only would we have those, tied into real estate, which we need to look at probably going to be tokenized again, so we can have multiple people, invest and join and do that together. Although that's separate from this, so we have our separate group where we talk about that. And then we would also have probably Bitcoin mining, which would actually create revenue, kind of like Ethiopia is doing, right? So it would actually use extra electricity, and it would actually create revenue at each of the physical locations where they're actually doing the real estate. So it'd be kind of a real estate and tokenized play along with the mining to bring in, basically it becomes kind of a bank of its own to some degree. Nathan, go ahead.
Okay, interesting.
So I was just going to also say I've been very interested in doing this kind of a project in Ethiopia. And there is a property, like there is a hotel that I'm thinking of working with Tokenize, and they seem like they're open to it, but there are legal barriers, obviously, within any country. But if you think Ethiopia is a place where we can work on something like this, then please let me know. I'd love to get involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, let's talk offline. We'd be very interested. Does that answer your question, John Mark, about it?
Perfect. It's clear for me.
Okay. And we'll plan to, I'm hoping by the end of the quarter, to bring that subgroup together so that we can plan for some of the first projects that we'll work on.
Okay.
Other questions for Hannah, for anyone, or our presenters, anything else from today? And I see you're unmuted. Were you going to ask something?
Sorry, no, yeah, well, maybe I just need a bit of clarity on the USDT when the president say it's gonna be the used coin. So can you elaborate a little bit on that? So does it mean, what does it mean for Bitcoin? What does it mean? So it means it's, because it's stable. I understand that stable coin doesn't change in value. So I just need a bit of clarity on that.
Yeah. So, and basically what happened now is that the US has made stable coins, USDT, USDC.
Yeah.
They're basically as good as a US dollar. That's what the government has said. So what they're saying is we will use that as a currency, and they make those companies have backing. So they have US government bonds, they have other treasuries. So effectively, these are the same as dollars now. That's what the government is saying. Bitcoin is going to be the treasury. It's basically like the gold, right? It's like a gold reserve, right? So if you remember how gold's always backed the currencies, these new digital dollars, effectively what the government is doing is they're backing it with gold, with Bitcoin reserves. So Bitcoin, which is why I keep on saying African countries should all be getting some Bitcoin and holding it, because that's what everybody else is doing, right? So Bitcoin is basically like it's like you have your Fort Knox or whatever, where they're storing all that's the treasury. And then the USDC, the USDT, that is the digital dollar, basically, right? So everywhere you go now, and the good thing for Africa and diaspora is that if you weren't able to get your hands on like a bunch of dollars, regular ones, you can get your hands on USDT. You can get your hands on USDC, right? So it's very accessible for everybody. Many of you who are on this call, I've sent it to you before, right? So that's the way that it's going to work now. It is just as good as being a dollar.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you for clarifying that. Appreciate it.
Got it. Okay. Great question. Any other questions? And obviously, there's huge support from the U.S. government on this now. So I expect this to move forward very quickly because of game theory, right? So there is no government in the world that wants to get left behind. So China's got their reserve. I'm pretty sure even they don't share it. Everybody else has theirs. Russia has theirs. Everybody's getting their Bitcoin, Dubai. They're all doing it, right? So it's game theory. Nobody wants to be the one who's there, holding the bag when everybody else has moved and is now using basically the Bitcoin system and the stable coins. They don't want that to happen. So you're going to see pretty much everybody, some more loudly, some more quietly, but they're all doing it, right? They're all getting those reserves. Okay, Lennox asks, what do I think of the new SEC chair? I have not checked on who our new guy is. Oh, who do we have now? So I forget his name, but yes, I was really happy to see the new SEC chair, because Gensler, the guy before, was just, I'm going to say it politically correct, he was bad, right? He just kept on suing all the crypto projects. So now there's a regulatory clarity. Everybody's actually able to do their tokens. They're able to issue, can even do ICOs. We're going to probably do that ourselves. We're probably, we're talking about this project. We're going to wait some SEC approval so that we're actually able to, market it to US investors, and then they can actually participate. We can't do that yet, but once we've done it, there's a section 506B. We can actually, have people join from the US as well. Interestingly, the US touches everything. Like if you do anything and it touches anything in the US anyway. So it's best just to, have that part covered, but it's great because now it's very open, it's transparent, and they're saying, yes, we are approving these things, bring them in. We want to support these Bitcoin crypto projects, token projects. So it's a complete 180. It's so much more positive now. So very happy with that. Yep, he seems very pro Web3 and crypto. Yes, absolutely, Lennox. He is. He is very much so. The whole administration is, and that is something I'm very happy about because this is going to be a lot of opportunity for, everybody, obviously everybody, and particularly as we focus here, Africa diaspora, Americans, African continent. It's going to be a great opportunity because everybody's taking this up now. So really happy to see it. Great opportunity for wealth and wealth building.
I have a question, John.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested in DeFi, and I see the rates are quite huge, sometimes 2 digits. And don't you think that in the next 10 years, when Bitcoin and crypto are seen seriously, some banks will collapse because if crypto is safe, if the rates are 8% or 12%, people will bring their money out of the traditional bank to DeFi. And with a crypto team, a company like AAV, there are 30 people to manage billions of dollars. So I think in the 10 following years, we will have a big trouble for banking system.
Yeah, it definitely money is moving to DeFi, but I can tell you with pretty good authority that banks are moving very heavily into crypto as well. So they have gotten the approval, especially in the US at this point. They've got the approval to move, to store, to custody. I've been privy to conversations, and they are definitely moving into space. Now, are they going to be able to compete with the new economy? These DeFi, I don't know if they are going to be able to, right? Because like you said, 30 people versus like 300,000 I don't know. They might, they might have to, they're going to restructure some things, obviously, but they are definitely moving in to this space as well. That is something they are doing aggressively at this point. So now the key thing for me for Africa diaspora is that we are involved in the underlying asset, the Bitcoin, the Solana. We are actually using those things ourselves. And I like DeFi because if you're touching it directly, then you're really contributing, especially with Bitcoin. The mining, things like that. We are really touching the underlying asset. It's like, if I have the actual gold, you have the actual gold, that's really good, right? If you and I go talk to somebody else, like, hey, I've got the gold, I'll hold it for you, that's fine, unless that guy says, I'm not going to give you access to the gold anymore, right? So I much prefer for African diaspora that we all are using the actual Bitcoin, physical, the real stuff ourselves, right? And the real DeFi, using our own wallets. I just think that's much more powerful. Although banks are going to come in, they're definitely coming in. So.
Okay.
Lennox said he seems pro Web3, pro crypto, will pave the way for CBDCs and crypto adoption, Web3 adoption. So I want to differentiate, Lennox, that's a good point. CBDCs, or if people don't know what that is, central bank digital currency, I'm not a big fan of those, okay? Those basically it's like China's e-yuan, that's a CBDC. I don't think anybody keeps up with that, but there's been quite a few reports, like they froze, the accounts, they froze people's access to things. A lot of people, Chinese, are really upset about that. I don't like that, right? I like Bitcoin. It's free. Anybody can access it. You can use it whenever you want. Nobody can stop your access to it, right? But CBDC, while like the digital dollar, the USDT is similar, but it's not exactly the same. It's still much more free and open, where the CBDC is like the e-yuan is completely closed and they can just stop everything at any time, right? So it is paving the way to that, Lennox, but I think from an Africa diaspora perspective, we should be more focused on the open, especially the Bitcoin and the open blockchains, because we don't want someone saying, oh, we're not going to let you access your funds now, right? For this reason or that reason. So not sure if that makes sense, but I think that's really important. Nathan, you had a comment. Did you want to just, oh, okay, you're heading out. Great, Nathan. Thank you for joining us. You headed out already. And definitely we'll talk to you about the Rails tokenization. Very interested to talk about that in Ethiopia. So that would be a great conversation for us to have. Okay, Lennox, you said banks will shift or holding, providing liquidity for cryptos and tokens. Yes, absolutely. That is definitely going to happen. There's Nathan's contact. Let me grab that. And then another comment for Lennox. The global economy is just waiting for a precedent. And I think, Lennox, we can't really wait for everybody to agree because generally that just doesn't happen. I think that, you know, it's really going to be on us, the youth in Africa, private sector, individuals. We need to really move these things forward. We can cooperate with governments, and we should. However, it shouldn't be just waiting for like, because I can tell you, I mean, you know, I'm trained as a lawyer. Government and legal moves the slowest, right? They're not the fastest. They're not the innovators. They move slower than anything else. So even in America, right, you're going to have a lot of like the innovation, Silicon Valley, everybody's doing all this stuff, and then the government catches up like 5 years later, 10 years later, right? The government is not, they're not going to be the ones to lead it, right? Regulation is a big obstacle. Yeah, that is a good point. Linux comes to implementation, real user interaction. So regulation can be an obstacle, but again, I mean, look at Nigeria, right? Nigeria tried to stop Bitcoin like 3 times. And does anybody know what happened in Nigeria? Any guesses there?
They didn't approve the regulations, and then people went ahead to
Thanks, Hannah.
just learn a little bit and transact.
Yeah, so they actually did put the regulations through, but people
Yep.
transacted anyway. So, but Nigeria became the second biggest Bitcoin nation in the world after the United States. So even though the government tried to stop it 3 times, Nigerians just kept using it anyway, right? And that's why I was saying, John Mark, it's so important to have the free open blockchain and Linux to that point, right? Because if you have one where they can stop it, like a CBDC, they could just stop you, right? But Nigerians are like, nope, we're going to keep using it, and they went to become the biggest. We became the biggest, you know, after the United States of transactions in the whole world. So that it really can't be stopped in that way. Regulations are an obstacle, and I'm not saying, oh, avoid the governments. I'm just saying that it's really going to come down to individual people are going to be the ones who are really going to make this thing happen. I don't think it's going to be waiting for the government to go, oh, now we have this, right? Innovation generally comes from people in private sector, not from governments. Let's see. Lennox said regulations are a big obstacle. For instance, Stripe doesn't work for African countries. I don't know about Stripe working in African countries, but that is a private platform. But yes, that's true. Bitcoin should work for you just about anywhere. Due to regulations, similar case for crypto without legal frameworks in place, mass adoption will still be out of reach for applications remain to use MVPs. I agree and disagree with you, Lennox, on that. So I agree that we need, you know, the public-private partnership, as we call it, right? We need to be working with the governments, and they're going to be a lot more friendly because, you know, places like the US and even China now are, you know, BRICS are all looking at using, you know, blockchain and tokens, right? However, like I said, with the example of what happened in Nigeria with Bitcoin, they tried to stop it like 3 times. I mean, I remember like going on the Nigerian group, like, why do they keep trying to stop it? I don't know why you're doing this, right? But it didn't matter because it's permissionless. Anybody can use it, and they couldn't stop it, right? And that's the power of this thing, is that anybody can use it, you know, anywhere in the world, basically, even with just a feature phone at this point, you can use it. So that's why I love, I mean, believe me, Linux, this technology would have been gone 10 years ago if they could have gone and knocked on the door somewhere and said, you better stop using Bitcoin, right? But they couldn't do that. That's why it's still around. That's why it's still working, because it's permissionless. Anybody can use it. You know, anybody can set up mining. You know, you can mine anywhere you want. And there's really nothing that can stop people from using this, which is why it's so powerful for Africans in diaspora. For the longest time, some people know this, some people don't, intentionally, intentionally, you know, Africa has been segmented out of the traditional financial system, right? That's why there's no banking SWIFT network. There's no, except for a few places like maybe South Africa, you're not going to have access. So when Bitcoin changes that, and now everybody can access it no matter what, that's a really big deal, right? That's a really big deal. All right. So that is why that's such a huge deal for us, right? And the same thing happened in America. We have what we call redlining. Search Daniel's on, right? Where basically African American communities were kept out of certain financial, they couldn't get a mortgage, couldn't get loans, couldn't get, you know, if you were in certain areas that were predominantly African American. And so the same thing happened there. And again, you see huge adoption of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in the African American community because people understand the power that this is financial inclusion for all of us, right? So I don't know if Lennox, that I see you put 100, so I guess you agree with that. That's why this is such powerful technology. That's why you see me getting on every month talking about it, because this is the way that everybody gets to have a shot to bring their ideas, use their capabilities. We have a lot of really smart people and they need funding and they can get that funding. There's a lot of great opportunities because this is permissionless. This is something everybody can use. Other thoughts, questions, comments?
John, I just want to just look at the next session and just get an idea if there's anything in particular the group are interested in hearing about or want us to focus on. Please share. Or if there's any projects or if there's any communities that you think we should give an opportunity to come on and speak about what they're doing, then also ask them to reach out to us as well. That'd be great. But yeah, it would be good to know what you guys want us to focus on or put our attention towards.
And if you're in the Telegram chat, if we finish here, you can also type it in the chat and let us know, or message Isaac or myself as well. We're definitely want to hear from you on that too.
The next focus, one thing that I will be looking at is blockchain wallet tracking. So I want to be doing a good deep dive on that, spend at least 45 minutes just to do some analysis on some wallets and how you can track them on the blockchain, and how you can identify wallets that are being very savvy investors, and you can use that to your benefit as well. For people who don't want to be using charts or looking at different platforms, there's also the option of doing it via the blockchain and looking at what's MicroStrategy or other wallets that are big holders, China. Yeah, we can have a look on the blockchain and see what's happening, and then how you can mirror your investing to what they're doing.
Absolutely. Any other thoughts for next session or other questions, comments?
Thank
Great.
you, John and
Well,
Isaac. I think we're doing pretty good. I feel sorry for the guys who don't hop on the call because they're missing out on information. It would be good to just have a whole bunch of people learning at the same like
Totally agree.
just yeah, just to have a movement and clarity on things, because especially on tokenization, people they're not sure what it is and what's going on. And so that's when the next thing you hear people saying, oh, I've been duped, I've been, I bought the wrong tokens and stuff like that, but they don't want to come and learn. So I don't know how best can we get a lot of people to be involved so that they can learn a little bit more.
Yeah, it's free education, it's free opportunity. We're also learning as well. I'm learning every single day something new about crypto, and I don't think we ever will stop learning. It's a totally brand new space for everyone. So I guess it's just a case of making sure me and John will be consistent throughout, and everyone just sharing the opportunities that we're putting out for people. And like I said, getting people who know more than us about the crypto space so we can all learn together. So yeah, but I just appreciate the fact that everyone's just been very supportive and jumping on, asking questions and sharing insight for other new or seasoned traders or investors as well.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, and please invite others. There's a saying, that's Denzel Washington, is somebody, Maya Angelou, each one teach one, meaning each person who's here reach out to somebody else, they reach out to somebody else, this information so start going out to our community. Obviously we want people to come and join and, tell them to join, but even if they don't, have them watch the recording or join the group and, see the things that we're doing, because we actually get quite a few people who watch those as we send them out and share them. So as you teach other people, that helps that knowledge to go out throughout our communities as well. The blockchain, okay, cool. So I see a couple of topics for next one. The digital wallets, the crypto wallet debit card, John Mark, you said, and then Lennox, you said the how to integrate AI agents with the blockchain. It's a good one. That. Cool. Okay, so some good topics. All right, other thoughts or questions or comments? thanks everybody for joining. I think really great session. I always learn from you guys as we do this, and I love, just learning about the projects and seeing everybody connect like this, because that's really the idea, right? It's building the community. We'll see a lot more ideas come exponentially because of us all connecting like this. So really good, unless anybody has any other thoughts. Okay, we'll close it up for this week. So, and this month, and we'll see you guys again next month. Then looking forward to it. Thanks everyone, John Mark, Isaac, and everybody. Thanks for joining, Lennox.
Thank
See.
you.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Bye.